everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for tuning in. I want to re-rank the studio albums from one of my favorite bands of the 1990s, that being Collective Soul. They just put out a brand new studio album, double album, Here to Eternity, which is a great listen. So I wanted to revisit the catalog and re-rank these albums from my least favorite to my favorite. This is one of the first videos I did on the history of my channel, but I'm going to go back. My order has changed a little bit, and of course I want to include the brand new studio album, Here to Eternity. So jumping into this, even though these bottom two are my two least favorites pretty easily, I find them underwhelming Collective Soul albums, but they're not bad albums in the overall scheme of like my album collection. Coming in at the bottom, and I don't remember which one I put at the bottom last time, but this time I'm gonna go with Youth, released in 2004. Some decent songs on here like There's a Way, Hymn, Perfect to Stay, General Attitude, Counting the Days. Never actually been crazy about Better Now. Not big on Under Heaven Skies, not big on Home. Sort of underwhelming Collective Soul album that almost feels like it's just missing the home run hit. That one song that would just put it over the top. It's just everything. All the songs I like on here are like second shelf Collective Soul, not necessarily top shelf in my opinion. So still not a bad album by any means, but for a Collective Soul album, this one has to come in at the bottom for me. Alright, coming in at number 11, we're going to go with 2019's Blood. This one does have a couple of home run hitters like Right as Rain, Big Sky, and Crushed. I've even grown to like Good Place to Start quite a bit. But there's a couple of songs on here I really just don't care for. Them Blues, I never got that into. Changed, Porch Swing. Observation of Thought, I was disappointed with. There's a really nice acoustic version out there on YouTube. It's just really drawn back, almost something in the vein of like Sympathy from the Goo Goo Dolls, and I really, really liked it. I kind of feel like they just added too much to the version on the album here, and it doesn't have the same magic to me, I guess. Songs like Now's the Time and Over Me are fine, but I just never really connected with them the way I do with many other Collective Soul songs. So at the end of the day, one of my least favorite from Collective Soul, but still not a bad album overall. From here on out, I really like all of these albums. So even these ones I'm putting in the 10th and 9th and 8th spot here may seem low, but I really do like these albums. I don't think Collective Soul has a bad album. So coming in at number 10, I'm going to go with the 2009 self-titled The Rabbit album. This is the one that brought me into the band because of Welcome All Again. I heard it on the radio, it caught my ear, and the rest is history. And though this was the album that got me into Collective Soul, if you go back to 2010, this is actually the last album that I bought. I went back and bought all their other albums before I got around to picking this one up. But Welcome All Again is my favorite song here. Fuzzy, Dig, You, Understanding, Staring Down, Lighten Up, Love, all great songs. Hymn for My Father, nice way to close this thing out. Solid album, 2009 self-titled Rabbit album. The first album released in my tenure as a Collective Soul fan comes in at number 9. That is See What You Started from Continuing, released in 2015. This one, it's a bit of a rocky album. Most Collective Soul albums I find are very consistent. This one kind of isn't. This one has 3 of my least favorite Collective Soul songs: Confession, Tradition, and Without Me. Can never get into any of those songs. The rest of it, though, I think is really catchy. Songs like Hurricane, super, super catchy song. Exposed rocks pretty hard. Are You the Answer is really good. Contagious, Life, Am I Getting Through, Memories of 2005. The other thing about this album for me, I don't really care for the guitar tone on here. This is the first album with Jesse Triplett in the band, and I think Jesse's guitar tone has gotten more appealing to me over the rest of his tenure in the band. But this album right here, there's just something about the guitar tone feels very plain to me. Otherwise, I think there's some really great stuff on here. Could be a little bit higher, but I think just those couple of things for me knock it down to number 9. Number 8, let's go with the band's first album, Hints, Allegations, and Things Left Unsaid. More or less a collection of Ed Roland demos, but It is the first album to bear the Collective Soul name. Has the big hit that everybody knows, Shine, Good Night, Good Guys, another great one on here. Um, the This album is really backloaded in my opinion. Songs like Reach, Breathe, Scream, Burning Bridges, and all like my favorite stretch of songs right there at the end of the album. Um, Sounds like a collection of demos, but they're good songs. I'm glad they got to see the light of day. There's a song on the Ed E. Roland solo album called Window that I so wish would have been on here. It's a great song. Really feels like it would have fit. Would have been a great addition to this album. So, hence Allegations and Things Left Unsaid. It's going to come in at number 8 for me. Number 7 is where I'm going to slide in the brand new album, Here to Eternity. The double album. Got a couple of tracks on here I really don't know what to do with, but there's a lot of really good songs on here, like Mother's Love, Bluer Than So Blue, Let It Flow, Not the Same, Kick It, Keep It On Track, Bring On the Day, Letter from E, Over and Out. A lot of great stuff on here. Very mellow. I think it starts off nice and hard and then really mellows out quickly, but still a great collection of songs. This one could go up or down depending on how it sinks in with me, I guess. But for right now, I'm gonna put it right in the middle at number 7. Number 6, I'm gonna go with Vibrating, released 2022. I really like this one, even though I wasn't a big fan of Blood. I kind of feel like the better songs of that supposed double album wound up here on Vibrating. The first half of this is phenomenal. Cut the Cord rocks pretty hard. Reason is a song that I was disappointed didn't make Blood. All Our Pieces is great. Take is great. Undone is great. The back half is held together with A Conversation With, Just Looking Around, Where Do I Go. My least favorite songs, Roll Number 1 and Back Again. Still not bad tracks, though they're my least favorite. I quite like this one, and I still do to this day, so Vibrating comes in at number 6. Number 5, we're going to go with the 1995 self-titled Collective Soul album, the album that Ed Roland himself considers to be the band's debut. Some of their big hits on here, like The World I Know, December, Where the River Flows, and Gel, all great songs. Simple, Untitled, Smashing Young Man, Where the Water Falls, all great as well. Bleed. The only song on here I never was that crazy about was Collection of Goods. Otherwise, superb album. Kind of the classic Collective Soul album for a reason. A lot of great stuff. For me, comes in at number 5. Number 4, the very first Collective Soul album that I ever bought. Discipline Breakdown, released in 1997. Tons of great stuff on here. Tons of overlooked stuff, in my opinion, as well. Precious Declarations, great song. Listen, Maybe, Full Circle, Blame, Giving, In Between, Crowded Head, Everything. Great stuff. Collective Soul's Discipline Breakdown comes in at number 4 for me. So now we get to my top 3, and these are kind of like my big 3 of the Collective Soul catalog. These are not only my 3 favorite Collective Soul albums, but these are 3 of my favorite albums of all time, actually. I always have a hard time coming up with favorite album lists outside of like ranking catalogs, because I just find it hard to rank bands' albums against each other. But I would be willing to bet that all 3 of these albums would crack a top 25 or so. I really love all 3 of these. And it could really go either way. Last time I ranked the albums, I actually put this one first, but I've spent a lot of time with these 3 albums anticipating the new release, and I gotta say that Afterwards is gonna come in at number 3 for me now. I still think this is a fantastic album. Very laid back, much like the new album. Got some nice rockers like New Vibration, Persuasion of You, which is my favorite Collective Soul song. I love the guitar work in that track. Some great laid back tunes as well, like What I Can Give You, Never Here Alone, Barry Witness, All That I Know, Hollywood, Georgia Girl, the Joel Kashi sung I Don't Need Any More Friends. Great stuff, not a weak song on this album. And if you have the version with the bonus tracks, you're getting 3 great tracks there as well. An Evening With, Ain't That Enough, and Give, 3 more great songs. So Afterwards for me is going to come in at number 3. Alright, moving up from Number 3, this one, Dosage, is going to come in at number 2 now. This album is fantastic. I think it is, even though 95 is the best known Collective Soul album to the masses, I think this one should be right up there with it. It's got some great tracks like Heavy and Run, which most people have probably heard but maybe don't know. They just don't seem to have the name recognition that like The World I Know or Shine does. It's got Tremble for My Beloved. It's got No More No Less, Needs, Slow, Dandy Life Has Even Grown on Me, Generate, Compliment, Not the One. Tons of great stuff. Crown closing it out. Never been a fan of Crown, but you got She Said at the end of it. Just a masterful album, in my opinion. The band takes a poppier approach, but really begins to experiment with different sounds, and I think it just comes. I just think it really pays off. Dosage is a fantastic album. Comes in at number 2, just barely getting edged out by the album that I put number 2 last time, but is going to move to the number 1 spot for me now. That is Blender. And I go back and forth all the time between these 3 albums. Specifically, Afterward and Blender are usually the 2 that I go between, and right now I'm leaning Blender. Love this one. I've loved this since I got it. Skin and Vent are 2 of my favorite Collective Soul songs. Why Part 2 was one of the songs that drew me in initially and made me a fan. 10 years later, Boast, Turn Around, Speak My Language. I love that cover. I don't understand the dislike for it. I think it rocks pretty hard. After All, Over Tokyo, Happiness, great stuff. Perfect Day, the only song that I'm not like crazy about, but it's not bad either. Just my least favorite on the album. So I think the band really takes what they started with, Dosage, experimenting with all the different sounds and the really expanding on the pop hooks and the pop sensibility and putting it together. Really creates a unique Collective Soul album and a unique Collective Soul sound. And for me, this one may be a loved or hated amongst fans, but Blender is my favorite. So there you have it. Let me know in the comments below how you would rank the Collective Soul catalog. If you like this kind of content, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this in the future, and I will catch you next time.